Join me for the top 5 best things to do in Salisbury, England. And if you're interested in Stonehenge, this is the way to do it. Trust me, I've taken the buses from London. This is way better. So let's check out this medieval cathedral town and see what it has to offer. Salisbury is located about 100 miles outside of London in southwest England and only 9 miles from Stonehenge. Coming in at number 5 is walking around the old city center. This poultry cross that we're looking at dates back to 1307 and was the marketplace for poultry in the region. Right behind, check out the Haunch of Venison, which is not only one of the oldest pubs dating back to 1320, but it's also haunted and was used by Dwight D. Eisenhower and Churchill to plan the D-Day landings during World War II. But that's not why it's famous. It's actually famous for even another reason. And all you need to do is ask to see the hand. Okay, so that looks so cool that it's like a jail too.
Yeah.
So a card game gone terribly wrong.
Yeah.
And they cut his hand off. That's harsh. Oh man. So cool. Thank you for showing me. Coming in at number 4 is the Salisbury Cathedral. This medieval cathedral, built in 1220, is a leading example of early English Gothic design, with a spire that is the tallest in England, coming in at 404 feet tall. Once inside the cathedral, you can sit down and marvel at the architecture, maybe catch a late afternoon choir practice, or join one of the docents as they talk about the history and art of this cathedral.
This passageway, covered walkway, like a quadrangle.
Yeah, like you've got out here. But I think, maybe if you go back to medieval times, they would.
Next, look out for this demonstration by the docents where they use what is called the holy dipstick, which checks the water levels underneath the cathedral because this cathedral is built on water. And speaking of water, check out the baptismal font that is so beautiful and reflects the beautiful stained glass windows and lighting throughout the cathedral. Next up, number 3 is the Magna Carta, which is also housed in the Salisbury Cathedral. This document, written in 1215, established that no king or government is above the law. This is the foundation of their constitutional monarchy in England and a universal symbol of freedom, justice, and equality. As a history teacher, I was so excited to see this document, and it's one of only 4 copies left in the world. Next, be sure to check out the Close at the Salisbury Cathedral. The Close is an entirely walled churchyard inside the cathedral grounds. I could just imagine J.R.R. Tolkien sitting down to write Lord of the Rings, sitting right here for inspiration. On your way back, walking through the city center, you might want to check out one of my favorite pubs, which was called the Ox Row Inn, which had excellent food and games on every night. Next up, number 2 is Old Sarum. Old Sarum is an Iron Age hill fort in the deserted and ruined site of the old Salisbury. This is also part of the ticket that I purchased, and if you want to know more about how I booked this trip, check the link in the description below for all the details. And the number one place to visit in Salisbury, England is Stonehenge. Located just about 9 miles outside of Salisbury, if you take the hop-on, hop-off bus, you'll be there within 15 minutes and you'll have all day to check out all the displays, museums, visitor centers, and of course Stonehenge itself. I love Stonehenge, and being based in Salisbury for me was definitely the best way to get the most out of it. I'd like to pass on a few travel tips when visiting. As you can see, the visitor center and Stonehenge, it's about a quarter of a mile apart, and you have to take a shuttle to get to it. Before you go, use the restrooms at the visitor center because there are no restrooms over at Stonehenge. Next, before you get on that shuttle, go to the visitor center and find an audio guide. I've been to Stonehenge twice, and I was never offered the audio guide because they don't let you usually go to the visitor center first. And making that sound, I thought it was fake in the movie.
Fair
What
enough.
are these birds?
They're mostly starlets, I think. But we do have, so those ones there, for example, see the big ones there?
Yeah.
They're actually called rooks. And they're basically like a raven, but I'd say slightly bigger.
That's
Slightly
so
bigger.
cool.
About 4000 BC was
Wow.
when the ditch was originally first
Oh
dug
my
up.
goodness.
And then they put the blue stones in afterwards. And
And-
they dotted it all the way around.
And those are the stones that are from like
Priscilla Hill.
Wales
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something?
Priscilla Hill.
Okay. Wow. And the sarsen stones are kind of local?
From a place called Marlborough Downs, which is about 30 minutes from here, actually.
And how do you think they got them here?
Same way the Egyptians built the pyramids. So wooden logs underneath the stones, and they would have actually dragged them over.
Almost the wheel,
Well, not quite a wheel, no. So they wouldn't use, they would,
but more like rollers.
yeah, so like rollers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically use that
Okay.
technique.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your
You're
time.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Welcome.
When visiting Stonehenge, you will find out that around 2500 BC, they kind of redesigned Stonehenge, and this previous outer circle is now mostly gone. In its place are called Aubrey holes. The interesting thing is in these Aubrey holes, they found the cremated remains of over 58 people. That is pretty amazing. Although it wasn't thought to be a burial site per se, they did have ceremonies where on some occasions cremated remains were left. You can learn more about this inside in the visitor center and museum. Lastly, before you go, don't forget to go out to the back and check out the Neolithic houses and displays outside of the visitor center. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. My name is Sharon Fitzgerald. I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, and I will be back with more history and travel content coming your way. Thank you.